who are you and what do you got?
My name is Bobby Claessens. I'm with SP Connect. We're an Austrian-based company, and our US headquarters is headed out of San Clemente, California. And what we're talking about today is the integration of phone cases and mounts that you can adhere to your motorcycles, to your ATVs, your side-by-sides, automotive products, lifestyle mounts, and all sorts of things. But we're going to start with the case itself. And what you'll see right out of the gate is this is a two-post design. There's two rails, two slots on the case, there's two rails on the mount, and with 2 points of engagement, that means that you're going to get nearly 180 degrees of connectivity. So when you set this on, as soon as you turn it, it's locked on there. But it's going to turn all the way to 90 degrees, where you'll feel a detent, a positive interaction, and then it's going to rotate another 90 degrees until it would finally come off on the opposite side. And so when you look at a lot of the competition is going to have a 4-post design. And when you have 4 points of engagement, we don't think about this, but you actually have 4 points of disengagement, which means that you really only have just under 90 degrees of connectivity before your phone will become disconnected if you were to bump it or knock it. And so with this, the other neat thing about 2 points of engagement is when you put this on there, not only does it turn this direction, but it turns the opposite direction. And so intuitively, this setup is more ambidextrous than any of our competition. So if you're left-handed, it works really well. If you're right-handed, it works really well. There's no need to turn your arms in funny directions or contort yourself to be able to make this work. All of our cases have the patented twist-to-lock mechanism, and there's also magnets all the way around as well. So if you wanted to stick this to a metal, to a ferrous object, it's going to stick onto the metal, it's going to stick onto all of that. So just locks into place. The mount that you're seeing here is our Harley-Davidson branded mount. We have several OEM relationships. This one's with Harley-Davidson. We have them with BMW and Yamaha and a few others as well. The only difference between this product and the stuff that you'd see in other stores that are not those OEM relationships are simply that it's branded that way. But all of the mounts are going to be hard anodized, so they're not going to fade to a sand or a purple. We also have these same mounts in chrome as well, and they're a hardened chrome, so they're not going to chip, crack, or peel.
Can you demo that one more time, because it was pretty nuts when you first showed us how strong that thing is.
So grabbing it just by the phone itself, I mean, we can pick this motorcycle off of its side stand by just the phone case.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a phone case do that before. That's pretty nuts.
So this newest system is what we call SPC Plus. If you are familiar with SP Connect, you'll know that we have a previous version of this. The big difference is that the older version had straight rails, whereas this new one has a curved design. The curved design allowed us to not only get 25% thinner, but 40% stronger. And so also by making a thinner design, we can do wireless charging. And so now, if we can step over here, you actually have a handful of other things that we can show. This is an anti-vibration module. So if you're familiar with the cracked cameras on iPhones is primarily the issue, they use a mechanical camera stabilizer. It's a series of magnets and springs that stabilize the camera, so when you're standing there, it helps take that wiggle out. The problem with that is the hertz that this motor puts out at a specific RPM is going to cause that vibration to shake that camera loose. So we have anti-vibration modules, and the way this works, there's a spring gasket on top. This is going to create spring tension between the mount and the case, so that way when you put it on there, you have positive engagement on top. Then there's a rubber membrane on the bottom that allows this to flex and vibrate, so the bike can move underneath without shaking your camera apart. But if you wanted to step up one more from this, we go to this one. Again, chrome and black in both options. This one has a USB-C cable attached to it, because this one is also charging and anti-vibration. So it still has the twist-to-lock mechanism. It's just going to sit on there and twist, but now you have the spring gasket and you have the rubber membrane that allows it to float. Making sure this is powered on, I'll use an actual phone instead of one of the dummy phones, and so as soon as you set this into place, it starts to charge. So there's a couple options when it comes to the power on this. Again, I mentioned this is a USB-C cable, so there's no proprietary cables that you need. If you want a longer cable or a shorter cable, all you do is put that cable on. The only thing special about our setup is that it does have these little teeth, so that when you push it in there, it actually positively engages into the housing, so that way it doesn't pull apart. But there's also another option that we offer for this, which is a USB-C to positive negative. So if you wanted to wire directly to headlight or directly to ignition, If you understand parasitic draws, you can wire directly to battery. It's not our recommendation, but that is an option for you. There's also just a charging puck. So what's nice about this one is that if you have, say, this mount here, you can get just a charging module that will set into place, lock on there. This does lock, so that way it doesn't turn when you go to put your phone on, and lock it into place. So let's say you have an anti-vibration module. You didn't get the charging anti-vibration module. You can take this charging puck, add it onto that, and now you still have charging and anti-vibration. One of the things that you'll see is our ecosystem. And I like to point this out because we have what we call a Clutch Mount Pro, but it'll mount to the clutch or the brake side. It's going to take up the top or the bottom screws, so you have 4 mounting locations there. You also have the Moto Mount Pro, which fits handlebars 7/8, 1 inch, 1.1 inch, and 1.25 inch. There's also an option to do what we call an arm delete, which means that you can delete this entire arm and mount this head directly on top of that, making a super low profile mount. You have the Bar Mount Pro, which is going to attach to the top clamp on the handlebars. And if we can step over to this one, you'll also see that we have a Mirror Mount Pro. We have one that attaches to your master cylinder for your brakes. And so there's mounts for all sorts of things. The other great thing, I mentioned our ecosystem, is we have everything from motorcycle and bicycle, we have automotive, we have lifestyle mounts, and we have mounts for just any other type of discipline that you might be involved in. So in an application where you might have one of our wireless chargers that you use on your nightstand, use at bedside, you take that off in the morning, we have armbands, so you can throw it on your arm, you go for your morning run, you do your morning exercise, or maybe you're doing a morning bike ride, tie it on your bicycle. We have mounts for the stem caps and for the handlebars, mounts that work with Garmin and Wahoo computers, and so you have that option. So then you get back from your workout, you get ready for work, you hop in the truck, we have vent mounts, we have suction cup mounts, we have adhesive mounts, and in those 3 mounts we have charging and non-charging versions, so there's a total of a half a dozen different automotive mounts. You get into the office and we have desk mounts and other types of chargers that you can use in your workplace. You get back home and you decide you're gonna go for a motorcycle ride and you toss it up on the handlebars and off you go. But this weekend, maybe you're doing something that's not motorcycle related. Let's say you're gonna go golfing or you're gonna go paddleboarding. We have a lot of different options that interface with other things, and so it isn't just a motorcycle conversation. The other thing that's great to note on this product is we are fully compatible forward and backwards with GoPro. So any of these mounts, you can put the adapter on, throw your GoPro right in its place, or if you already have a whole slew of GoPro mounts, there's an adapter that slides into that cradle that you can use for an SP mount. So all of that is forward and backwards compatible. And the reality is that we live in a world now where we'd rather lose our wallet than our phone, and that's true for a lot of us. And so in this case, we have a way that if you want to be connected, we can connect you.
What are all those in there?
Come on up. So I mentioned the office desk mount. This is a magnetic charger, so it just sets right into place. As soon as you set it on there, it'll immediately start charging. It does have a adhesive base to it with a little bit of foam, so if you want to stick it to a specific surface and keep it there, that's an option. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But you'll notice that there is no interface on that, and that's because the magnets in the case line up with the magnets in the mount, and so it just sets on. Going from there, that's the armband that I was talking about. We have a universal bicycle strap. We have weather covers, so if you're looking for some added protection or some extra water resistance, we have that. We have glass screen protectors. We have universal bicycle mounts. This mount here, everybody teases that we call this the Bobby mount. I'm gonna pull this off real quick so you can see it. But this mount is absolutely one of my favorites. I use this mount in my truck. I have a column shift in my Super Duty. And so when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, grab a hold of the shifter, this sits right up there. So when I pull it down and drive, my phone interfaces with my console. But the other great thing about this is we use an Alexa for our shopping list. And so we get to the grocery store and my wife says, hey, she pulls out her phone, we need these 33 items. I'm like, oh, that's a lot, it's gonna be an expensive bill. But as you're pushing your cart down the aisle, in 2 or 3 aisles, you've already forgot 75% of what's on your list. And so we can actually take this, throw it onto the shopping cart, throw your phone up on there, and now you're rolling through the store with your phone out. You're not constantly in and out of your purse, in and out of your pocket. And this is one that has a toolless design, so you can just pull that apart. It's spring-loaded. And then when you turn it, you can turn this head to change the clock on it. You can hear that click, that positive engagement. That's the springs pulling that thing back down. But on this mount, you have a silicone strap on the inside, and then you have rubber stripes on the inside of the mount, so that way it's not going to slip on any of the bars. And this is really great for an application where we're talking about maybe doing a test ride on a customer's bike. Maybe you're trying to diagnose a fuel issue. You're trying to figure out where a wobble is at a specific speed, and you need to have your phone mounted for whatever reason. Or if you're using a Power Vision, you can use a Power Vision, take a universal interface, throw it on the back of the Power Vision, strap this onto the customer's bike, and now you can do all of your real-time tuning. One of the things that is great about the Power Vision is the opportunity to do that in-person, that real-time tuning. But one of the frustrating things is that if you don't mount that to the customer's bike, then you either have to zip tie it to the handlebars, or you've got to stuff it under your crotch or in your jacket. And now that's problematic because the whole reason you're doing this is to access your air fuel panels. Well, with this, again, throw the universal interface on the back of the Power Vision, strap this onto the customer's handlebars, your air fuel panels are directly in front of you, you go out, you do your riding, you tune the bike, you come back, you take this off, and no tools touch the customer's bike. So we're not damaging or marring up any handlebars or controls or interfering with any of that. The other thing is, let's say we're just walking down the road and we decide we're gonna take a selfie or something, and we just don't have the arms to get out there. You can take this and strap it around the pole on a stop sign, set your timer, we can step back, get our picture. This strap is so universal, it's so easy to use. Think strollers, think wagons. You're gonna go to the beach and you're gonna tote all this stuff. You can strap this to anything. You're gonna be at an event, you got a 10x10. You wanna get good product video, good action video of people walking in and out of the booth. Strap this to the post inside your 10x10. Mount your camera, hit the time-lapse button, and let it do its thing. So that's awesome. These are some of the automotive mounts that we talked about. So you have a suction cup, and if you look at all of our product, it's a little intuitive. These ribs indicate that you have a charging module. So suction cup charging, we all have suction cup that doesn't charge. Vent mount that doesn't charge, vent mounts that do charge. Adhesive mounts that charge, and adhesive mounts that don't charge. So you have all of those different things. You have POV poles, you have tripod poles, you have the office charging stand. You have headlight and tail lights for bicycle. You have a pouch that would go on top of the bars. You have a pouch that would go underneath the saddle. This is our stem cap. So this is super low profile. It's great for gravel bikes. It's great for road bikes. It's extremely low. And so that's something that when that's there, you don't even recognize that that's on the bike. Bicycle mount, bicycle mount, bicycle mount, bicycle mount, bicycle mount, bicycle mount. We have so many bicycle mounts. We have so many motorcycle mounts. There's a couple that I don't see that I'd like to show. I'll find them. One of our wallets, we have 3 different wallets. This one has the mechanical interface, so you'll set that on, twist it over. And then there is a magnetic version somewhere. Give me 1 second. Where is the magnetic wallet? Have you seen it? So this is a printed version. In our European markets, we have printed cases, but you can see that it just sticks on there. And the great thing is you can pull this little tab. It comes out as a stand, so if you need to do that, but you can also flip it sideways and do it in a different way as well. So that's nice. This wallet will hold 1 to 5 ID debit credit cards. It'll hold 1 to 10 business cards. The great thing about this, which is several, but one of the things I mentioned is that it will hold 1 card. If you took 1 business card and set it in there, there's a spring that holds that into place so you don't lose that 1 single card. It's RFID protected, so no one's going to tap you and take your information. And when you have this open, there is a spot for cash. There is also a flip wallet, which has found itself somewhere.
In somebody's pocket?
Probably. These things wander all over the place. But cruising back through here, we have ring mounts that are mechanical. We have ring mounts that are non-mechanical. We have just a magnet interface. So if you wanted to, say, stick this on a mirror, this ring is a steel ring that has a soft touch coating and then a dual compound 3M adhesive on the bottom. So you could stick this to the mirror, you could stick this to some drywall, you could stick it to wood, anything that's not ferrous, you can now stick this to and then just toss your phone up on it because it's magnetic. There's 2 of those that come in the box. We have clip mounts for the people that want to have a pocket clip or a belt clip. That's an option as well. You have a universal clamp. So that if you didn't want to use our case, and you still have a case that is chargeable, Then this is a clamp that squeezes on the sides, and then it has the charging system inside of it. Speaking of clamps, one of the things that's great about this clamp here, if you look at most motorcycle clamps, this clamp lives on the motorcycle. So I'm going to take you through a scenario that if you've used the clamp, you already know this. You walk out to your bike, you open up your clamp, you set your phone in, you clamp it down, you fire it up, do some laps, right? We're out riding, I get a phone call. I pull over, I undo this, I pull my phone out, I take my phone call, put it back in, clamp it back down, going down the road, and inevitably I'm going to see someone or see something I want to take a picture of. I pull over, I unclamp it, I take my phone out, I take the picture, I put it back in, I reclamp it, I'm back down the road. I get to my restaurant, I pull over, I open it up, I take my, you see where we're going with this. But because this system lives inside, and I'm going to put this upside down, actually I'll put it the right way. You clamp this in there, and there's a couple things to point out. The first is going to be that these clamps actually reach over the top of the phone. So it's not hitting it on the side, allowing it to pop out. These clamps are curved, so it reaches over the top. Also, if you can see right down the center of there, you can see that there's a channel so that when you squeeze the side, it's not going to hit any of your buttons either. If you're an iPhone user, you're probably somewhat familiar with the SOS mode, and if you hammer on those side buttons, it's either going to call the police or whoever your point of contact is. So with this, having that channel cut in, you can cramp it down as tight as you want, and at no point is it going to push those buttons. There's also two versions of this. There's the standard clamp, and there's the clamp max. The difference between them is the standard clamp is going to open 40 to 60 millimeters, and the max clamp is going to open 50 to 80 millimeters. In most scenarios, the max is actually going to work for you, unless we're talking about maybe an iPhone 12 or 13 mini with no case at all. In those cases, you do need to go to the smaller device, or the smaller clamp. But again, having this on here means that you can just set it on and lock it into place. So now in that same exact scenario that we had, you're clipping down the road and you get a phone call, you can take it off and you put it back on. You see something you want to take a picture of, you take your picture. You get to the restaurant, you take it off and you go inside. This can live on your phone the whole day if you feel so inclined, but you don't have to constantly clamp and unclamp, which is going to wear out the components. It's also going to compromise your ability to get your clamp in the right spot, especially if you have a clamp that does push those buttons where you might have to get that into a very specific area.
You know what I was thinking too is, that seems like a good way to get people into your ecosystem.
Absolutely.
That don't have your case.
So the 2024 Pan America CVO comes with this clamp in the package. So when you buy that motorcycle, this clamp and that mount are already part of that. And so this is an out-of-the-box system, meaning that the customer doesn't need anything else. If you have any mount and you have this clamp, it doesn't matter at that point what we're talking about. The clamp is going to fit your phone, the mount is going to fit your motorcycle. You can buy that motorcycle, install that clamp, put this on your phone, and head down the road. Something else that's great about this is this allows us to think a little bit outside of the box. Think radar detectors, think GPSs, think again, power visions, or any of those things that we don't necessarily make a case for. This is something that will allow you to clamp onto whatever fits inside those jaws, adhere it to any of the mounts, and you're down the road. We talked about the charging puck.
It's a universal one.
Yep, so this is a waterproof roll top bag. So if you've ever seen any of the roll top bags, this is going to fit that exact same way.
That's cool.
So there's a couple things that we've done here, and I'm going to take my phone out of the case so we can use this. Normally, if you're trying to pull this in or out, it's going to be sticky. It's going to be difficult to use and operate. But we've engineered this with a slide tray. So you can set your phone in the tray, and this slides easily in and out of the bag.
And that's waterproof, right?
It's waterproof. Your screen still works, so everything does what it's supposed to. You can still access your buttons. And so then what you do to close it is you're going to flip this over. It's going to Velcro at the top, roll it down, and then one more Velcro closure that comes over the top to seal that.
Nice. Very nice.
Still has the interface, so it still works with all of the mounts.
Thought of everything, man. That's awesome.
I mean, we tried to. There's probably something that we haven't, and in those cases, we would love your feedback. If you have thoughts, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, we'd love to hear those things, because we are a company that's built for you guys. If there's an idea that you have, we'd love to hear it, because if we can make it work, it's going to be great.
I think the one thing that I can think of that I would like sometimes I like to use my phone as a chest camera.
Uh-huh.
Is there a chest rig you can do?
So we actually have something in prototype right now that we're designing more for a military law enforcement application. But what that does is it works with MOLLE straps. And so it's going to drop right into the mollies, it's going to sit right there, and so if you need a chest cam, you know, if you're trying to do that, if you need to be able to record things and use your hands at the same time, this conversation we're having right here, you could have that chesty, have your phone sitting right on the front, and be able to do that. So I don't have that in this moment to show you, but that is something that's in prototype right now.
Very cool. Awesome. So is that everything?
I mean, I'd love to say yes, but I'm sure we missed some things. Like I said, we've got mirror mounts, we have LT mounts.
Oh, wait, there's more.
The LT mounts are light mounts. They're an ABS instead of the billet aluminum. They're built more at a price point, so if someone wants to get into this, then that's an easier, more convenient way to do that. Talking about price point, cases are going to be $40. Most mounts are going to be between $40 and $80. All of your chrome mounts will be $10 more, but the anti-vibration module, only $30. I mean, that's the easiest, cheapest insurance that you can get for your phone. When we're talking about what the anti-vibration module does in regard to you and riding your motorcycle, you will break a camera without one. With one, you're going to protect that. It does make it 100% vibration resistant. It does take that hertz and that vibration mode out of that handlebar and allows it to stabilize.
That's awesome. Very cool.
I'm sure there's things that I've missed, but with an ecosystem this big, I mean, we're bound to. But that's the bulk of it, and that's at least a really good starter. One thing I will also point out, I do like this mount a lot. This is a RAM ball adapter, so if you have RAM mounts, you like your RAM mount, but you wish you had something a little bit more secure, but you don't really want to dive all the way down the rabbit hole, for $10 you can get this, you can get a case, and then just that quickly, you can still use all of your RAM mounts, but now you have the locking on there. You don't use the rubber band or the little claws. I think I talked to you about forward and backwards GoPro compatibility. This is our creator kit. So this is the adapter that mounts onto the SP Connect mounts to make you put a GoPro on. This is the adapter that goes into the GoPro mounts to allow you to use SP. These are all other adapters. This is a 1/4-20 adapter. This one's just for a little bit extra reach. And this one is to get you some rocker if you want to do some more. Any questions? I mean, anything that I can answer for you or go back over?
You covered it all. That's awesome.
All right.
So if guys want to learn more, let's end this with a website.
sp-connect.com is going to take you to our direct website. And if you are going by a motorcycle shop, anybody that supports Drag Specialties, Parts Unlimited, Western Power Sports, or Hard Drive, those are our distributors. So every motorcycle shop in the country has access to our parts.
Sweet. There you go. Check them out. SP Connect.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.